for each of our friendly foreign countries who are part of this journey. Coming on to the second activity, or the second initiative which we are pursuing. So while the IOS Sagar will be undertaking the mission, she would also visit Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, where she will meet with 2 other iron ships to participate in the maiden edition of exercise AKM. This again is a first of its kind exercise for the Indian Navy and for India. It will be co-hosted by the Indian Navy and the Tanzania People Defence Force, and will also witness participation from 10 African countries from the east coast of Africa. As on date, we are likely to have 7 ships from our African partners and friends, with observers also joining in. So AKM is a Sanskrit word, means unity, and it aims to bring regional countries together towards a common goal of maritime security and growth in the region, because in the end, we are all united through the oceans. So thank you very much, and I will now hand over to the representative from...
We'll be having an unveiling of the logo.
Yes, we will go for the unveiling of the logo, and then I will hand over for the further proceedings. Thank you so much.
So I'll request the Deputy Chief to unveil the logos. We have the remote here. You just have to point towards the screens. Yes.
दस वर्ष पहले विजन सागर यानी सिक्योरिटी एंड ग्रोथ फॉर ऑल इन द रीजन की आधारशिला रखी गई थी.
In 2015, India unveiled a vision, a bold dream for the Indian Ocean region, a promise of unity, strength, and shared prosperity. Today, that vision takes form with IOS Sagar, One Ocean, One Mission. On 5th April 2025, history will be written as IOS Sagar sets sail. Aboard this vessel, the Indian Navy welcomes warriors of the sea from 9 friendly nations. Together, they train, they unite, forging interoperability and cooperation for a safer, stronger tomorrow. Indian Navy stands tall as the preferred security partner and first responder, extending a hand of friendship and resilience. This is a mission of trust, a testament to our shared destiny. And with the deployment of IOS Sagar, it heralds the maiden edition of Exercise Ekyam, Africa-India Key Maritime Engagement, meaning unity in Sanskrit. This Indian Navy-led maritime exercise unites 10 African nations in combined training to mitigate shared challenges together. From the vision of Sagar in 2015 to the waves of 2025, IOS Sagar sails as a symbol of unity and resilience. Concurrently, Exercise Ekyam strengthens maritime security in the region with 10 African nations.
The Deputy Chief of the Naval Staff, Director General Naval Operations, ladies and gentlemen from the media, a very good afternoon to you all. While the Deputy Chief has brought out some more salients of the maiden initiatives of Indian Ocean Ship Sagar and exercise ACAM. Over the past 10 years, Indian Navy and ACAM are aimed at reaffirming the ION's commitment as preferred security partner and the first responder in the region. This effort is channelized towards bolstering inclusive development and collective efforts to address regional challenges, enhance interoperability with the navies of the region, and foster mutual learning from best practices at sea. For IOS Sagar, the ship would be manned by a combined crew of 44 personnel from 9 IOR countries that are Kenya, Tanzania, Mozambique, South Africa, Madagascar, Comoros, Seychelles, Mauritius, Maldives, and Sri Lanka. The breakdown of personnel participating from these countries is as flashed on the screen. Indian naval ship Sunita would be deployed as Indian Ocean Ship Sagar. The ship is a naval offshore patrol vessel based at Kochi and was commissioned on 15th October 2013.
1000 steps कैसे कर लेते हो आप? Next climb Mount Everest.
जॉब में प्रमोशन के लिए क्या क्या करना पड़ता है, लेकिन खाते का प्रमोशन है बड़ा आसान। सिर्फ एक टैप एंड गेट 811 सुपर सेविंग्स अकाउंट, फ्री प्लैटिनम डेबिट कार्ड, 5% कैशबैक ऑन डेबिट कार्ड स्पेंड एंड डेडिकेटेड कस्टमर सपोर्ट। कोटक 811 सुपर, आपके खाते का प्रमोशन।
कब कद्दू आएंगे पता नहीं। वो आ गया
खोते हो अभी कहाँ पी सकती है तेरी बहन रसना।
कोई गल नहीं पापा, असी वेट कर लेंगे।
वो प्यार ही क्या जो बांटा न जाए। रसना रिच मैंगो।
We love you, Rasna.
Also, continuing from the training ashore, focused trade-based training would remain a key aspect of training during the deployment. Now coming to the Africa-India Key Maritime Engagement, or ACAM, India and Africa give immense importance to the maritime security. The same has been aptly enunciated during the second edition of India-Africa Defense Dialogue held at Gandhinagar in November 2022, wherein both sides, as part of the declaration, reiterated their commitment to increase cooperation in tackling maritime security threats. In order to enhance interoperability, this large-scale multinational exercise, ACAM, which means unity in Sanskrit, is being conducted for the first time with Indian Navy and Tanzania People's Defense Force as co-hosts. In the maiden edition, the Indian Navy would be providing the logistic support to the participating nations as well. Also, a Dev Expo is also planned on the sidelines of the exercise. ACAM 2025, the maiden initiative of the Indian Navy for conduct of the exercise, is to foster inclusivity and facilitate maximum interaction with the regional navies. The exercise is scheduled to be conducted from 13th to 18th of April 25 of Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and would be inaugurated by the Honorable Raksha Mantri on 13th of April. The final planning conference of the same to finalize the modalities of the exercise is scheduled on 27th of March. The participating nations in the exercise are Eritrea, Djibouti, Kenya, Tanzania, Mozambique, South Africa, Madagascar, Comoros, Seychelles, Mauritius, apart from India. The harbor phase activities of ACAM include training on seamanship, small arms, visit board search and seizure or VBSS, a tabletop exercise, and a command post exercise for anti-piracy and information sharing. Indigenously developed Nishar Mitra terminals would also be used for information sharing during the tabletop exercise and the exercises planned at sea. As brought out before, Dev Expo is also being organized at Dar es Salaam as part of the harbor phase. The exercise would witness likely participation from the countries as shown on the slide. The details would be finalized during the final planning conference. Being the maiden edition, we have a very encouraging response from the friendly foreign countries, as was brought out by the Deputy Chief. The participation includes ships from the Indian Navy, Tanzanian Navy, Kenya Navy, South African Navy, and observers from the participating FFCs. Coming to the sea phase, the major sea phase activities would include seamanship evolutions, search and rescue activities, information sharing exercise, helicopter operations, and small arms firing, amongst others. With that, I finish. Thank you and Jai Hind. May I hand over to the PRO for handling the Q&A session.
And kindly do frame your questions within the scope of this presentation and avoid anything specific or things related to the government. Yeah. Mr. Rishikesh, PTI.
Of selecting partner countries from the eastern coast of Africa. And the last question is this the first visit of a new regime, Moses? Thank you.
So as far as we are looking at ECAM to be a biennial event, and we shall of course have to make an assessment based on the success of the first event that we conduct on the first edition, and we'll take it up from there. So this time, to keep it within manageable proportions, we selected West African countries, and we were encouraged that East African countries, and we were encouraged that most of the countries did agree to participate. So what we are thinking is in the next edition, we'll invite the West African countries also to participate, so that we make it not just about East Africa and the Indian Ocean, but make it a wider Africa, India feature. So there, East Africa, West Africa, I've already covered the second question. And the next question is the first ship visit to Maldives since the new political regime took over in Maldives. Prashant, do you have that idea? We're not facing any problems with ships visiting Maldives. There's not been any embargo or any limitation on that. I don't recollect us scheduling.
This is not the first ship during our...
1 minute. I have my staff here who can have the details. Yeah, okay. So we have been exercising with the Maldivian. Basically, that was the thing. It's not the first thing. We've did a HADR exercise, India-Maldives HADR exercise. That is the time the ship had gone. Why I was not immediately aware is because we not really faced a problem with Maldives as far as ship visits are concerned.
In countries with European counterparts, with the Indo-Pacific. So where does Africa fits in the broader picture of the Indian Navy?
In that is closest in proximity to us is the region that probably will have the maximum impact should there be issues with regard to maritime security. So therefore, the Indian Ocean region remains to be a very important region for us. And if you look at some of the activities that we do, for example, the Indian Ocean Naval Symposium, which is a multi-country activity. Then there is the IORA, which is again a multi-country activities. These are all activities to get together the Indian Ocean countries for whatever it might be. In our case, in the Navy's case, maritime security. So therefore, this region will remain relevant. East African countries are very much part of the littorals of the Indian Ocean region, as are Southeast Asian countries. If you recollect, some time back, we had the Look East and the Act East policy, and we reached out quite a bit to the Southeast. And of course, that's east of us, but west of us is East Africa. So that is equally important to us. You're well aware of the situation with regard to piracy on the east coast of Africa. There are a lot of issues with regard to flow of narcotics which goes down to the east coast of Africa. So these are, for us, peacetime maritime security issues which we feel we must intervene in. Africa in the broader sense, of course, is, as far as the country's policy is concerned, we try and keep in step with that. And engagement with Africa is part of the country's foreign policy, because that is growing, the whole continent is moving from up in the scale as far as development is concerned. And there will be a lot of engagement as far as the government of India is concerned, and we are part of that initiative.
Ms. Poonam Pandey.
सर मैं पूनम पांडे हूँ नवभारत टाइम्स से। जो 44 मेंबर्स क्रू है उसमें क्या महिलाएं भी हैं, और आईएनएस सुनैना के बारे में अगर आप बता सकें, क्योंकि ये फर्स्ट आईओएस सागर का है, उसकी क्या खासियत है?
तो इस बार क्रू में तो कोई महिला नहीं है। एम आई राइट कमांडिंग ऑफिसर? तो खैर ये पार्टनर कंट्रीज पे डिपेंडेंट है, क्योंकि पहला इनिशिएटिव है शायद मेरे ख्याल से जो ट्रेडिशनली ये लोग अपने जहाज़ों पे एम्प्लॉय करते हैं। इनमें से कई कंट्रीज जो हैं जो महिला नहीं एम्प्लॉय करती है जहाज़ों पे, तो इस बार खाली ऑल मेल क्रू है जो फॉरेन कंट्रीज का आ रहे हैं। सुनैना एक ऑफशोर पेट्रोल वेसल है, सदर्न नेवल कमांड में बेस्ड है, और मेन इसका एक मेन रोल है EEZ पेट्रोल, और ये हम साथ में करते थे बाकी देशों के साथ भी। कई बार हम क्या करते थे कि हम दूसरे देश के EEZ पेट्रोल करते थे और उनके पर्सनल को एम्बार्क करके ऑन बोर्ड, ताकि उनको भी पता चले कि EEZ में हम लोग क्या पेट्रोल कर रहे हैं। जॉइंट पेट्रोलिंग हो जाती थी, एक देश के साथ करो, दूसरे देश के साथ करो। तो हमने रियलाइज किया कि हम सारे मिलके इकट्ठे क्यों नहीं कर सकते, कि हर बार अलग अलग देश के साथ करने का क्या मतलब हुआ। तो इसीलिए ये विजन क्रिएट किया कि हम साथ मिलके मल्टीपल कंट्रीज के क्रू को लेकर, ताकि उनको भी पता रहे कि हम EEZ के पेट्रोल में कुछ उस कंट्री के एडवर्स अगेंस्ट नहीं कर रहे। हम म्यूचुअल ट्रस्ट की बात है, क्योंकि अगर हम दूसरे देश का कोई जहाज आएगा हमारे EEZ में, हमें नेचुरली हमें लगेगा कि ये जहाज क्या कर रहा है, खास करके अगर वॉरशिप हो तो। सिमिलरली बाकी कंट्री भी ये फेस करते हैं। तो इस जरिए से, इस माध्यम से हम ट्रस्ट बढ़ाना चाहते हैं।
मिस्टर अनुवेश रथ।
ये प्रेजेंटेशन में बताया गया कि 2 बार डेफ एक्सपो किया जाएगा, तो कौन कौन से ऐसी चीजें हैं जो वहाँ पे दिखास्पेट करेंगी?
डिफेंस एक्सपोर्ट बेसिकली डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ डिफेंस प्रोडक्शन ऑर्गेनाइज कर रहे हैं। कुछ डिटेल्स अभी हैं जो फाइनलाइज होने हैं, लेकिन हमारी तरफ से एक लैंडिंग शिप टैंक जा रहा है। तो जो भी आर्टिफैक्ट्स, जो भी इक्विपमेंट पार्टिसिपेटिंग कंपनीज और PSUs का लोड करने हैं, वो हम अपने जहाज पे लोड करेंगे और ले जाएंगे उसको हेल्प करने के लिए। डिटेल्स कौन कौन डिफ एक्सपो में पार्टिसिपेट करेगा वो हम थोड़ा सा आगे जाकर रिलीज कर पाएंगे, क्योंकि अभी तक वो फाइनलाइज नहीं हो पाया।
मिस्टर मानस भूया।
So this is Manas from PTI. So there have been some offensive by the US against the Houthis to ensure better security in the Red Sea. So how do you see the renewed US push against Houthis and to clear the Red Sea? And second question is, the Philippine Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, he was in India recently, and he suggested that India should join the Quad alliance to ensure better security in the South China Sea. So how do you see the proposal? Would Indian Navy like to be part of the alliance? Thank you.
So US action on the Red Sea, on the Houthis in the Red Sea. If you recollect, the Houthis announced that they will recommence attack on the Israelis, and what I am telling you is actually from what I've read in the newspapers. So probably nothing new for you. And it appeared to us that the US response was with regard to the announcement of the Houthis. What I can share is that since December, there has been no significant attack carried out in the Gulf of Aden, Red Sea area. And there has been a substantial decline in those attacks. and we tie it to the progress of the ceasefire between the two countries, the Israel-Hamas. And what we have noticed as a pattern is that whenever the level of the war level increases in that conflict, the Houthis also exercise their intention to support the Hamas and the Palestinian cause through these activities. You also asked about the Philippines chief's suggestion. I would not really like to comment on, something which is in the policy domain, but just to recall that India considers Quad not to be a security alliance, and it has been a grouping which we've taken forward with various initiatives, but we've not thought of it as a security alliance.
Mr. Sudhir Ranjan Sen.
Sir, Sudhir Ranjan from Bloomberg. So one clarification on this ship. You're saying it's on the EZ Petrol. Is that the thing?
No, what I meant was that no other country has suggested or offered to have a parallel initiative. Most of the partner countries that we have in the Indian Ocean region probably do not have the capacity that the Indian Navy has got. What I was referring to is what was the thought process behind this IOS Sagar, because we used to help EEZ patrols of other countries where they did not have the capacity. We would have agreements with them to go and patrol their EEZ with our ships, and we would embark their personnel so that their personnel were part of the patrol and they knew that we were not doing anything which is adverse. No intent of adverse against them, against their security. And we would do it for one country, two countries. So we decided that why not collectively do it in one go and do it for a longer period of time. So that is the thought process behind this.
And so I also wanted to check, why separately on this exercise with the East African countries?
The IANS platform is, it's a participative platform with many countries there, and we do conduct exercises under the IONS framework also. In fact, I'm not sure if you're aware that we will be taking over the chairmanship of the IONS in November this year for a period of 2 years. And there will be, of course, initiatives under the IONS framework. But that's a very large grouping. And it's a consensual consent. There has to be consensus among all the countries of the IONS who are partners to be able to do any particular activity. As of now, we have 3 groups of activities under IONS that we participate in. Therefore, this has been an independent initiative, and like you said, essentially focused on the East African countries and these countries which do not, we feel, need a little help as far as capacity is concerned.
Mr. Neeraj.
अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज के साथ या कोई ब्लू वाटर नेवी भी करती है इस तरह के मल्टीनेशनल एक्सरसाइज अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज के साथ, जैसे यूएस रिम पे?
कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग में अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज के साथ बेसिकली 2 मेजर एफर्ट्स हैं. एक यूएस है, एक कटलेस एक्सप्रेस करके एक एक्सरसाइज करते हैं. उसमें बेसिकली वो पार्टिसिपेटिंग कंट्रीज को इनवाइट करते हैं जो भी अपनी तरफ से एसेट्स या कैपेसिटी शेयर कर सके, चाहे इंस्ट्रक्टर्स हैं या चाहे शिप्स हैं. और इंडिया ने भी इसमें पार्टिसिपेट किया है कटलेस एक्सप्रेस में. तो एक तो वो इनिशिएटिव है, वो यूएस लेड है. दूसरा, कंबाइंड मैरीटाइम फोर्सेस ने रिसेंटली एक टास्क फोर्स 154 क्रिएट किया था. इनिशियली तो 150, 151 था, 154 भी क्रिएट किया है. उसका भी फोकस कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग एंड ट्रेनिंग में है. तो ये 2 एफर्ट हैं जो अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज की तरफ डायरेक्टेड है.
So with your permission, we'll have...
इस टाइम पे आप लोग वहां जा रहे हैं और एक्सरसाइज भी करेंगे, तो एंटी पायरेसी को लेकर क्या अलग से कोई ये कि लास्ट ईयर भी यही टाइम था जब हुतीज के अटैक्स ज्यादा हो रहे थे और उसके बाद पायरेसी भी बहुत ज्यादा हो.
तो एंटी पायरेसी के अगर मैं प्योरली एंटी पायरेसी की बात करूं तो हाँ, हम बहुत ही कड़ी नज़र रख रहे हैं उस एरिया पे। हर इवेंट को हम ट्रैक करते हैं और उसके लिए हम रिस्पॉन्ड करने को तैयार है। एक हमारा जहाज ऑलवेज रहता है पेट्रोल ऑफ द गल्फ में और एंटी पायरेसी के लिए, और वो ऑलवेज तैनात रहता है वहाँ पर गल्फ ऑफ ओमान, गल्फ ऑफ एडन के आसपास। अगर हमें लगा कि पायरेसी असेंडेंसी पे है, मतलब बढ़ रही है, तो हमारे जहाज तैयार हैं रिस्पॉन्ड करने को, तो हम एडिशनल जहाज डिप्लॉय करेंगे अगर ज़रूरत पड़े तो हम बहुत अलर्ट है इस बात पे। हमें पता है कि मॉनसून के पहले सीज़न होता है, पर ये भी नोट करना कि जनवरी, फरवरी, मार्च में एक इवेंट को शायद छोड़ के कोई इवेंट हुआ नहीं है पायरेसी का। अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज इस एक्सरसाइज में हमारा इस बार एम है कि हम EEZ पेट्रोल करेंगे, एंटी पायरेसी स्पेसिफिकली नहीं करेंगे। लेकिन इस EEZ पेट्रोल के दौरान जो पेट्रोल्स होते हैं एरिया में होते जहाँ पायरेसी हो सकती है, उस एरिया से भी हम पास करेंगे, ऐसी बात नहीं है। एक्यम में हम लोग जो एक्सरसाइज है उसमें स्पेसिफिकली हम टेबल टॉप एक्सरसाइज कर रहे हैं एंटी पायरेसी के लिए। एंटी पायरेसी, इंफॉर्मेशन शेयरिंग और कम्युनिकेशन, क्योंकि पहली बात तो ये है कि आपको पता होना चाहिए कि आसपास क्या हो रहा है। दूसरी बात, आपके पास एबिलिटी होनी चाहिए कि एक दूसरे को बता सकें कि क्या हो रहा है। तो इसीलिए हम जो एक्यम में जो एक्सरसाइज कर रहे हैं उसका फोकस है विजिट बोर्ड सर्च एंड सीजर, मतलब जब हम बोर्डिंग ऑपरेशंस करते हैं, अगर कोई सस्पेक्ट वेसल हो तो उसकी ट्रेनिंग होगी। एंटी पायरेसी का टेबल टॉप एक्सरसाइज होगा। हमने कम्युनिकेशन इक्विपमेंट बनाया है इंटरनली नेवी के एफर्ट से, जिसको हम निशार बोलते हैं, नेटवर्क फॉर इंफॉर्मेशन शेयरिंग। और इसके माध्यम से हम चाहते हैं कि हम सारे मिलके इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर करें और इंफॉर्मेशन शेयरिंग एक्सरसाइज भी होगी। तो ये है। सो आप देखेंगे कि एंटी पायरेसी को भी बोल लीजिए, मैरीटाइम सिक्योरिटी को भी बोल लीजिए, बेसिक अप्रोच जो टैक्टिक्स होते हैं नेवी के वो कॉमन है। तो एक्यम में हम लोग करेंगे इस पे फोकस। एक क्वेश्चन था कि कौन से जहाज पहली विजिट है, आपने पूछा था शायद मालदीव्स को ना। थोड़ा मैं क्लैरिफिकेशन देना चाहता हूँ क्योंकि इन्फॉर्मेशन है मेरे पास अभी। तलवार ने विजिट किया था नवंबर 24 में। This was to escort Huravi, which is one of the ships that is undergoing refit at Mumbai. It's a Maldivian ship. It is undergoing refit at Mumbai. That ship is likely to, the refit is likely to get completed very soon, and then she will be escorted back. Then, of course, IOS Sagar जाएगी, और जैसे मैंने मेंशन किया था, इंडिया मालदीव्स HADR एक्सरसाइज शेड्यूल्ड है, वो मई में शेड्यूल्ड है. So these are the ship visits with regard to Maldives. So we are having continuing to have engagement with Maldives, at least at the Navy to Navy level.
Thank you, sir. Now I'll
Sorry, I did not do this earlier, but the naval operations at naval headquarters. To my left, of course, you know the PRO very well, so no introduction required. Further to the left is Commodore Foreign Cooperation, Commodore Karthik Shrimal. The whole idea and concept of both AKM and Sagar has been actually initiated from the Directorate of Foreign Cooperation. They are the ones who conceive and come up